Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Thursday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another beer from Solemn Brewery this afternoon. I have had some beers from them in the past. They're a local brewery of mine. They're doing some absolutely fantastic stuff over there. And I already reviewed the baby brother version of this beer, but I decided to do a review on the, I guess you could say the older brother, which is, I did the regular Snaggletooth Bandana. It was a delicious West Coast IPA, and this one is the double Snaggletooth Bandana, which a little bit higher in ABV. Of course, they're still going to have that pronounced bitterness that one was known for. Of course, like I like to call it the baby brother of Pliny the Elder, because you still have that like intense hoppiness and like the bitterness that comes through, but also kind of leaves like that dry mouth feel. Nothing really happening when it comes to leaving like a juicy kind of situation. It's not going to be anything like your normal like New England IPA where it's like a hazy IPA. No, you're not going to get that with this. This is going to have more of a golden kind of color. Of course, with West Coast IPA, there's definitely more pronounced bitterness that kind of comes through, and of course they let some of the malt characteristics kind of come through a little bit more. But I'm super excited to see this one's all about. I've had the regular Snaggletooth, so I'm really excited to see what the double Snaggletooth does with that little bit more of a oomph and ABV, plus just that maybe having a little bit more extra bitterness and possibly a little bit more of that malt character actually coming out through a little bit more. So, if I didn't mention before, it's an 8.5%, which of course you guys know by now I would not consider this beer sessionable one bit. But, yeah, I think it's time for us to crack this thing open and see what this thing's all about. So, let's see what we got here. Yeah, you too, Ian. Hope you had a good Christmas, and I know New Year's coming right around the corner. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, definitely getting that bitterness coming through, the hoppiness that I love. Definitely more of an herbal hoppiness coming on the nose. Let's see. It's definitely bringing a lot of like dank, hoppy characteristics to it. So let's pour this guy and see what it's all about. Could be drinking out of my Whistle Punk glass this afternoon, so let's pour this thing and see what we got here. Oh yeah, nice golden color. Let's try to get a little bit of a head on this one so we can get some good aromas going. Yeah, look at that. Looks absolutely delicious. Love the golden color. Of course, it's definitely going to be clearer than usual, of course. But still has that really nice golden color. Nice fluffy head on the top. Oh yeah, still getting a lot of that bitterness. You can definitely get the bitterness on the nose. Well, it's definitely very like herbal and floral and everything like that. Definitely giving like a little bit of a malty backbone coming in the background as well. But yeah, this smells absolutely fantastic. Definitely going to be a nice kind of stronger West Coast IPA to kind of start the afternoon. So let's see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Thursday. Oh yeah, that's definitely a strong one. That's for damn sure. What I'm going to recommend for anybody who isn't a fan of very, very hoppy beers, this most likely isn't going to be the beer for you. I'm going to be completely honest. Definitely has that really strong, dry mouthfeel that it gives you up front. Very, very strong, pronounced bitterness coming through with it as well. I'm getting a lot of that like herbal spice kind of situation, that like more of an herbal kind of hoppy bitterness to it. It's not like there's no really fruity flavors that I'm getting in it at all, but they're just letting a lot of those hoppy bitterness flavors come through. Of course, makes me think this could even be closer to a 60-minute boil, I would say. I mean, you can still get the colors from this kind of thing when it comes to a 60-minute boil, but I think it was I'm not 100% sure if I would consider this something that was done in a 90-minute boil, just because, of course, the longer you boil the beer, the more bitterness that's going to kind of taper off towards the end. So, of course, I'm assuming that they did a pretty decent addition of a first word hop. They even could have mash hopped it. Who knows? I'd be very surprised to see if they mash hop this one, where instead of putting your hops into the boil kettle when you're transferring it over to the boil kettle to get ready to boil it, you're actually putting some hops into the mash as it's kind of working through, creating the wort, kind of getting some of the hops to go through that wort already. So maybe I can see a mash hop situation in this, but I can definitely see there was a good addition of a first word hop plus most likely an early boil hop addition in there as well, just because there's such a strong pronounced bitterness to where, yeah, they have to add a lot to keep that bitterness there. Or maybe it was stronger when they were first doing it, but maybe they did a 90-minute boil, and so the more they boiled it, the bitterness got toned down, but there still is a very, very significant bitterness to this one. But if you're a fan of more of like the herbal kind of bitter, drier West Coast IPAs, so if you're a fan of West Coast IPAs and you want something a little bit stronger, this might be something for you, I think. This is definitely up there when it comes to just strong, hoppy, floral, bitter, herbal kind of hoppiness that you can ask for, and it's pretty nice. I like it. Leave that dry mouthfeel at the end. Definitely has more of like a medium to low body to it once you're drinking it, but overall this is pretty nice. Definitely one of those ones where you want to make sure it's cold. So looking here at the description on Untappd for this one, it says assertively better with the West Coast leaning malt undertone and weighted Cascade and Centennial foundation. So of course Cascade and Centennial hops were the hops used most likely for the first wort or the early boil hops. And then they say double snaggle drips through a danky dry hop Citra, Amarillo, and Cryo Centennial sway of I don't even know what the hell they're saying on that last one, but yeah, so they double dry hopped it with Citra, Amarillo, and Cryo Centennial, which is definitely a really, really distinct situation. So a lot of times I've never even used Cryo Centennial before. I've definitely used Citra and Amarillo before, but never Cryo Centennial. So I'm curious what kind of flavors that brings off in the dry hopping. But yeah, definitely getting those dank notes coming through with that. Of course, you're not really getting any of like the citrusy notes that the Citra's bringing in, but a lot more of those spice kind of herbal forward notes that Cascade and Centennial bring off as well are definitely some of the most predominant flavors. Plus, they kind of changed it up with the Cryo Centennial in there to kind of give it a little bit more of a concentrated flavor, which I think is what is helping bring out those strong, bitter, hoppy notes coming through. So it's definitely an interesting recipe that they did with this one for sure. But looking here, let's see if we can try to find something similar to this guy. So I'm not a big fan of the similar beers list that it's showing for this specific beer. Of course, if you're looking for a similar beers list on Untappd, you'll only be able to see that through the browser. On the app, it really doesn't give you a similar beers list to show up on there. But let's see if we can filter out what I've had. So we're going to look up under the category of IPA Imperial Double. So let's look. IPA Imperial Double. And let's see what I can find here. I could probably consider Sticky Hands from Block 15 to be something similar. Same thing with the Dab Lab Double Dab. So any of I wouldn't really consider like the Dab Lab Juice Joint to be similar because that's more of like a juicier IPA when the Double Dab is just like your double West Coast IPA kind of situation. Of course, there's some beers from the It Up series from Fifth Frame would probably be something similar to this one. Of course, I'd put the regular Snaggletooth Bandana to be something similar to this one. Of course, it's pretty much the same recipe, just kind of amplified a little bit. Yeah, I could definitely consider the Tony's Car from Metal Monkey to be something similar to this one, just because it's the high bitterness. So it definitely this one I can assume has a high IBU rating. It doesn't show it on Untappd, but this one I think has a pretty decent high IBU rating in this one. Of course, I put Pliny the Elder in being something that's similar to this one. Let's see. Yeah, there's definitely a couple ones that I would probably put in the same one. Of course, Pliny the Elder is going to be one of those ones that I put way up there for being similar to this one. Of course, the Tony's Car, some of the It Up beers from Fifth Frame, and then the Dab Lab Double Dab I've definitely put in the same category as this one as well. So there's definitely a lot of breweries making this kind of style of like your very hoppy bitterness forward West Coast IPAs, of course, just having that minor malt characteristic that comes through on them. But I think I would say this is probably more of the more popular style of IPA, just because around the West Coast IPA it's still considered in that American IPA realm. So that's like the kind of style of IPA that America's known for, instead of like, I guess you could say the East Coast, the New England IPA is growing a lot more, but definitely there's always like a cult following when it comes to these just incredibly hoppy, strong Imperial IPAs. So I think they did a pretty damn good job with this one. Of course, I believe the Snaggletooth Bandana is Solemn Oath's like namesake IPA. Like they have it available year round. I don't think they have the double Snaggletooth available right now, but they have some other stuff available over there. I don't think they distribute to stores right now. I think you might have to just go over to the brewery and pick up some to-go cans from them. But they have of course, a location in Naperville, Illinois, and they have a location in Chicago, Illinois as well. So if you're anywhere near those, you might be able, and if you're in the area, you might be able to stop over there and grab some stuff. It's a really cool crew, and it's an awesome locations that they have. So I definitely recommend, if you're coming to this or the Chicagoland area, Solemn Oath would definitely be a brewery that I'd recommend to be on a list if you're looking to go to different breweries and stuff. But let's look here and see. Let's see if there's anybody on my friends list to check this one. And actually, okay, I'm looking at people saying that this is actually available at Binny's, which is like a liquor store around here. So that's really nice to know. But let's see. But of course, when my dad purchased it for us, we actually purchased it at Solemn Oath. So let's see on my friends list and see what people are drinking this one. So this is actually a beer that I gave away on a Patreon giveaway. So I'll let people know about that more later on. If you want to win some beer from me, you may have the opportunity to. So Mr. Face Meat checked this one in, gave it a 4.25, and what he put was slightly hazy amber with a snow white head that disappears fairly quickly. Smell and taste of our tropical fruit and grapefruit with a plenty of malty backbone to balance. I'm really digging this one. So he's definitely getting some of those more like the fruitier flavors. I'm not really getting it. I'm getting more of like the herbal, kind of piney, hoppy flavors coming through. Really no grapefruit or citrusy notes coming through for me at all with this one. But that malty backbone I would definitely agree with. And yeah, this is definitely a really, really solid Imperial IPA. So he gave it a 4.25. I can definitely see that. My dad checked this one in. He gave it a full 4 out of 5. Purchased at Solemn, which is where we got ours. And yeah, that's pretty much each of my friends list. But let's look and see at the global ratings and see what other people had to say about this guy. But before we do that, got to go through and see what the average rating stuff are. So like I stated before, it's 8.5%, which would not consider the sessionable one bit. You guys know by now that my sessionability rating kind of cuts off around 7.5, I would say. So 8.5 is a little bit high for that. So of course, this is something that if of course you have one of them, you're most likely going to be feeling it afterwards. And with over 273 ratings, this one has an average rating of 3.99 out of 5. So it's almost having that 4 out of 5 average, which is pretty solid. That 3.99 I think would still be a pretty solid average rating to have on a beer. So now we can go into the global ratings and see what other people had to say about this guy. So let's see here. So this guy purchased his from Binny's Beverage Depot. Which one is this? So he purchased it at the Crystal Lake location. And he gave it a 3.75 out of 5. Let's see, we got a 4.75 out of 5 here. This person gave it a 2.5. Maybe just not the biggest fan of this kind of style of IPA. Let's see, this guy gave it a 4. Let's see, we got a 3.5. We got Face Meats Chicken right there. We got a 4.25 saying celebrating a Big Ten West Coast title for Purdue football. So he has his kid holding the can and the glass he drank it out of, which is pretty cool. What else we got here? We got a 3.75, another 3.75, another 3.75. Like 4 3.75s in a row. We got a 4 here. Purchased that Binny's Beverage Depot, which is the Riverside location. So maybe this stuff may be available over there. I'd be surprised if it is. And let's do 2 more. We got a 4.5, and then we got another 3.75 out of 5. So yeah, pretty solid ratings on this one for sure. Definitely people are enjoying this one. I see a lot of back and forth between like 3.75. Yeah, definitely. Okay, I just wanted to remember if. Wait, what happened? I'm a little sexy. I read the title as Banana. No worries, Ian. Yeah, this is definitely one of the ones I sent you, Face Me, and I saw your check-in on Untappd for it, so glad I'm finally getting around to do a review for it. But yeah, this definitely some pretty good ratings on this one overall, I would say, on Untappd. Definitely some pretty solid check-ins and all that kind of stuff like that. So let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on our end with this guy. So we pour the rest of it into the glass. And of course, the first thing we're going to look at here is can art. And of course, this one's a little bit different than the regular Snaggletooth bandana. Of course, the regular Snaggletooth bandana had that like almost like cream kind of color to it, but this has that little bit more of an orange. Of course, you got the teeth on there with the kind of keeping that Snaggletooth bandana kind of feel on there. Of course, you got the teeth sitting there, and then the font that I love that Solemn used, almost that kind of just old school, like, I'm trying to remember what people would like consider this font, but I really like it. Of course, you got the picture right there, beer for beers, which is a nice kind of slogan, I guess, and always has the hands with like breaking chains and all that kind of stuff. Of course, there's the description of the beer right there. Double IPA. Yeah, there's not really a lot of craziness going on with this one, but I think it's enough to be, it's clean, it's classy. I think they made everything big enough to where, even though there's a little empty space on like the two sides right there, I think they still did a pretty good job of taking advantage of most of the, like, I would say about 85% of all the real estate that they have on this can art to advertise this beer. I love the font. I like the teeth on there. I like the color of the label. So overall, yeah, it's pretty solid. This is I would definitely put this in something that would catch my attention if I saw it at a liquor store, just because of the different smaller elements that make it overall a really nice, appealing label. So I'll probably give this one a solid 4 out of 5 for can art. I like it a lot. But let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at Solemn Brewery, would I get another one? Now the real question is, if I had the Snaggletooth bandana and the regular well, the double and the regular Snaggletooth bandana. Which one would I get? Would I get another one of? I'd probably choose this one, to be honest, because I like how it's a little bit stronger. Of course, that just maltier backbone just seems to be a little bit more predominant that in this one than the other one. That herbal note that comes through with that piney, dank kind of hoppiness that comes through with it as well is really nice. And it's overall a really, really solid hoppy beer, I think. When it comes to West Coast IPAs, and all the kind of old style of an IPA, okay, so that's Old English font face me, got it. Let's see. Yeah, you too, Grinchy. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, if I had to pick a kind of a West Coast IPA that I would like to drink, because of course you guys know by now it's not my go-to style of IPA. Of course, I'm on towards the realm of being more of a fan of a New England IPA, where it's more citrusy, a lot more fruitier notes coming through. If I had to choose a style or like a specific category of a West Coast IPA, I would probably choose the Imperial Double kind of style, where it's a little bit stronger, higher ABV, a little bit more of a pronounced hoppiness to it. Of course, that malty backbone coming through is always a nice kind of balance to all the flavors that you get from it. So this is the style I would look for when it comes to drinking this kind of style of beer. I think they did an absolutely fantastic job with this one. So big shout outs to Solemn for this one. So I think, of course, if I got in the flight, I'd probably choose this over the regular. And with that being said, what my final rating is going to be on this one. What the hell did I'm curious what I rated the other one, to be honest. So let's look here really quick. I always forget what I freaking... Let's see. Okay, so I gave it around that 3.75 kind of realm. So yeah, probably like that 7.5, 7.5. I think I'm gonna have this probably around like the 8 to 8.25 kind of realm. So I think I'm gonna leave it with a very, very solid 8 out of 10. I think is where I'm gonna leave with this one. Very, very delicious. Great job with the guys over at Solemn. They did actually nailed it with this one. So of course, if you're looking for something, like I stated, if you're looking for something similar, I can always recommend Pliny the Elder. That's kind of available countrywide to be something similar to this one. If you want to experience something with a significant hoppiness like this one, definitely put this in the realm of being similar to like Pliny the Elder and all the stuff like that. So overall, yeah, really, really fantastic job. 8 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave with this one. So big shout outs to Solemn for coming out with this guy. Hopefully they come out with maybe, I would like to see them come out with maybe a triple IPA version of this one. This would definitely be something to play around with to see how high you can make it with this guy. Who knows? But overall, really, really fantastic beer from Solemn. So if you have the opportunity to come try any of the beers from Solemn Brewery here in the Chicagoland area, I highly recommend it. They're doing some fantastic work over there. So of course, if you want to look up anything more when it comes to looking into Solemn Oak a little bit more, see what kind of beers they have available, you can check out their website. Link to that is down in the description below. But other than that, I think that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live, do another review. Of course, I'm not really, my schedule when it comes to reviews this week has kind of been on and off just because I've been running a lot of errands and stuff, so haven't had the opportunity to do reviews, so might be some more coming this week. I'm not 100% sure. But of course, if you want to stay up to date with all the reviews that I'm going to be coming out with, make sure you follow my Instagram. That's going to be the best way to do so. So link to my Instagram is down in the description below as well. And of course, if you haven't yet, please shoot me a friend request on Untapped if you're on it and haven't done so already. I absolutely love seeing some of my friends check in on Untapped. It's a cool thing, and I just love the platform Untapped has created. It's really, really cool. And let's see. Yeah, they've done some really cool things over there where they've pretty much created a platform for all craft beer lovers. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers because that's pretty much what it is. You check in beers, you get badges, you will do all kinds of stuff. It's really fantastic. So if you haven't shot me a friend request on Untapped yet, link to my profile is down in the description below as well. Last but not least, you guys heard me talking about my Patreon and all that kind of stuff. That is what I always recommend to be the best way to help me do what I do and help this channel out greatly. Just because it helps me get more beer in my hands, plus it helps me get more beer out to you guys as well. Because I do monthly 4-pack giveaways, everything like that. So if you want to take advantage of those, possibly get on the Patreon, get the opportunity to win some beer monthly. And plus I'm working on some other stuff down the road that will be Patreon exclusive things. You'll just have to kind of wait and see. I'm working on a few things, but other than that, Let's see. I think that is it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. Thank you everybody who's going to be watching the replay as well. You guys are fantastic. And I'm ending this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.